The sound of shattering glass echoed across the elegant restaurant just seconds before terrified screams filled the air. Crystal wine glasses crashed onto the polished wooden floor as three large men surrounded a frightened young CEO. Guests froze in fear, waiters stepped backward, and no one dared to move. Everyone believed they were about to witness a terrible tragedy in broad daylight. But standing quietly only a few feet away was a single father wearing a simple black waiter uniform, a man carrying invisible scars from a painful past. What nobody inside that restaurant knew was that this ordinary server possessed a hidden skill that would change every life in that room forever. Before we continue this emotional story, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who believes kindness can change lives, and subscribe to spread love daily. If you believe people deserve second chances and that courage comes from the heart, you're in the right place. The morning had started like any other for 38-year-old Mason Carter. Long before sunrise, he gently prepared breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter, Nora. Their tiny apartment wasn't luxurious, but it was filled with warmth, laughter, and love. Mason had been raising Nora alone ever since losing his wife, Claire, to a sudden illness 5 years earlier. Every single day was a balancing act between earning enough money to survive and giving his daughter the childhood she deserved. Some mornings he skipped breakfast so Nora could have a fuller plate without ever realizing the sacrifice her father quietly made. Mason worked double shifts at one of the city's finest restaurants, a place where politicians, celebrities, and wealthy executives regularly gathered for expensive lunches. While guests admired sparkling chandeliers and elegant decorations, Mason quietly carried heavy trays with a smile that hid years of hardship. His co-workers admired his patience because no customer ever saw him lose his temper. Even on the hardest days, he treated everyone with respect. Unknown to anyone at the restaurant, Mason had once lived an entirely different life. Years earlier, before marriage and fatherhood, he had served in an elite military rescue unit. His job had never been about fighting. It had been about protecting innocent lives during dangerous hostage situations. His instructors had always reminded him that true strength wasn't measured by how many enemies someone defeated, but by how many lives they could save without unnecessary violence. After Claire became seriously ill, Mason left that life behind forever, promising himself he would never use those skills again unless protecting someone who had no other hope. That afternoon, the restaurant buzzed with excitement because one of the city's youngest technology CEOs, Adrian Holloway, had reserved the private dining section for an important business meeting. Adrian was only 34 but had built a company employing thousands of people. Although incredibly successful, he remained surprisingly humble, always thanking the staff personally and remembering the names of the waiters serving him. Mason noticed Adrian kindly helping an elderly customer pick up a dropped cane before returning to his own table. That single act reminded Mason that wealth never defined a person's character. Kindness did. Guests instinctively backed away while several employees reached for their phones, too terrified to intervene. The men accused Adrian of ruining their criminal investment scheme after his company exposed financial corruption that had cost them millions. Their voices grew louder with every step, and panic spread throughout the dining room. Adrian remained calm, trying to prevent innocent people from getting involved, but the three attackers had no interest in listening. One grabbed a heavy wine bottle while another shoved a table aside, sending plates crashing onto the floor. Mason's heart pounded. He looked toward the emergency exit where frightened families were gathering. He thought about Nora waiting for him at home. He remembered the promise he had made after leaving military service. Then he looked into the terrified eyes of a little boy hiding behind his mother near the attackers. At that moment, Mason understood that doing nothing would haunt him for the rest of his life. Without raising his voice or drawing attention to himself, Mason calmly instructed nearby guests to move toward the kitchen exit. His steady confidence helped prevent panic. People followed him without hesitation. As one attacker raised the bottle toward Adrian, Mason stepped between them. His movements were unbelievably calm. Years of forgotten training returned in seconds. Instead of striking anyone, Mason redirected the attacker's momentum, causing the bottle to fall harmlessly onto the floor where it shattered. Before the second man could react, Mason positioned tables between him and the frightened guests, creating a safe barrier. The third attacker charged recklessly, but Mason used only defensive techniques, guiding him into an empty section of the restaurant without causing serious injury. Everything happened so quickly that many customers barely understood what they had witnessed. The attackers expected fear. Instead, they encountered a man whose greatest strength was self-control. Restaurant security finally reached the scene and, with Mason's help, restrained the three men until police officers arrived minutes later. Silence filled the dining room. People slowly emerged from behind tables. Parents hugged their children. Employees wiped tears from their faces. Adrian stood speechless as he realized how close everyone had come to disaster. Instead of celebrating himself, Mason immediately checked whether every guest was safe. He helped an elderly woman sit comfortably after she nearly fainted and comforted a crying child with gentle reassurance. Only afterward did Adrian approach him. When Adrian quietly asked where Mason had learned such remarkable composure, Mason simply smiled and admitted that life had taught him the importance of protecting others before protecting himself. He never mentioned medals, military service, or dangerous missions. Those chapters belong to the past. The police later confirmed that Mason's actions had likely prevented multiple serious injuries. News of the incident spread rapidly across social media after several customers uploaded videos showing the mysterious waiter calmly protecting everyone inside the restaurant. Reporters searched everywhere for interviews, but Mason declined every request. Fame couldn't help pay the bills or tuck Nora into bed at night. 2 days later, something unexpected happened. A black car stopped outside Mason's modest apartment building. Adrian personally climbed the stairs carrying no cameras, no reporters, and no security team. He wasn't there to offer publicity. He was there to offer gratitude. After meeting Nora and seeing the simple life Mason had built through honest work, Adrian realized that true heroes rarely appeared on magazine covers. They quietly sacrificed every single day for the people they loved. Instead of offering charity, Adrian offered dignity. He invited Mason to become Director of Safety and Employee Protection for his growing company, believing that someone with compassion, discipline, and integrity could build a workplace where people truly felt secure. The position included excellent healthcare, flexible hours, and enough income for Mason to finally give Nora opportunities he had only dreamed about. At first, Mason hesitated. He worried about leaving the restaurant family that had supported him through difficult years. But his manager smiled warmly and encouraged him to accept, reminding him that sometimes life rewards people precisely when they stop expecting anything in return. Months passed. Mason transformed Adrian's company culture by introducing emergency preparedness programs, conflict resolution workshops, and mental wellness support for employees. Productivity increased, but more importantly, people genuinely felt cared for. Nora finally received the piano lessons she had always wanted. Their apartment slowly filled with laughter instead of financial worries. Every evening, Mason still cooked dinner himself because he never wanted success to replace the simple moments that truly mattered. One afternoon, Nora asked her father why everyone called him a hero. Mason gently smiled and told her that heroes aren't people who fight. Heroes are people who choose kindness even when life has given them every reason to become bitter. Those words stayed with Adrian forever. He later created a scholarship honoring everyday workers whose quiet courage often went unnoticed, naming its first award after the humble waiter who had reminded an entire city that character matters far more than status. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Spread Love Daily. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that inspire kindness and compassion around the world. Sparkling Heart special request, comment below, real heroes protect others. Sometimes the strongest people aren't wearing expensive suits, uniforms, or titles. Sometimes they're single parents quietly carrying invisible burdens while choosing kindness every single day. Mason never expected recognition. He simply refused to look away when innocent lives were in danger. And because one ordinary father chose courage over fear, countless lives were forever changed. In the end, the greatest hidden skill wasn't his military training. It was the compassionate heart that never stopped believing every human life was worth protecting.